Hi guys, it's Colette. Welcome back to my channel, Grandmother Winds of the Earth. And today I'd like to tell you about something you've heard before, about a little experiment that was done, and may give you a better understanding of why you might be feeling so tired and done in and low and just feeling like running away from the world. Now you may have heard of this experiment. I don't have links to it, but it's well known that a university professor wanted to make a point with some of his students. So he pulled out one to the front of the class, a healthy, strong, young student, and he said, "Do you think you could hold this glass of water out to the side with your hand?" And the young chap said, "Yes, of course I can." And he said, "Well, please do that. Stand, put your hand out and tell me if this glass of water feels heavy." And the young chap took it, put his hand right out, stood like that and said, No, it's not heavy. It's not heavy at all." And the professor said, "Well, I'm just going to go on and teach the class and I'll come back to you in 10 minutes. You keep holding that up." So he went and taught for 10 minutes and come back, and he said, "So how are you feeling now?" And the chap said, "Well, my hand's cramping up a bit, and definitely my arm, the glass of water feels heavy." And he said, "But you're okay?" And he said, "Yeah, I'm okay." He said, "Well, I'll go teach again and I'll come back in 10 minutes. So he taught, and when he came back, the young chap was like, sort of moving about, but still keeping his arm up, still clutching the glass of water. And he said, "How are you feeling now?" And he said, "Well, actually, my upper arm's cramping up, and the glass feels much, much heavier." And he said, "But are you still okay?" And the chap said, "Well, yeah." And he said, "Well, I'll go teach for another 10 minutes and then come back." And when he came back after the 30-minute mark, the young chap's hand was and his arm were further down than they had been. He was having trouble keeping this glass of water up, and the professor said to him, "How are you feeling?" And he said, "Oh, I can't hold this glass of water for any longer. My arm's going to give in on me. I mean, if I don't think about sort of putting it down, it's going to fall and smash and the water go everywhere." And the professor said, "That's fine, I'll take it off you." And the chap said, "Thank you." And oh my goodness, his arm sat down. And that was the lesson that the professor wanted to give. You see, when the young chap first held the glass of water out with his strong arms, it felt like no weight at all. But the longer he had to keep it up, the heavier it got. And the more he felt that certain things were going wrong and that his muscles were getting tired, and the longer he held it, the heavier it became, and the heavier and the heavier, until he felt he couldn't hold it up. And if someone didn't take it off him, or if he didn't put it down, that he would have to let it fall and it would break. So the water and the cup, the jar, the glass, weighed the same from start to finish. There is no change in the weight of it. But the effort to keep holding it up as time went on became harder and harder, until it felt heavier and heavier and heavier. And that in itself is a lesson. So let's think of the last few years with us all. Most of you on this channel are empathic, you're psychic, you're mediumistic, you're sensitives, or or you're here because you have that outlook or want to know about that outlook. You want to observe, you want to learn, or you want to practice. So think of yourselves and think of the last 5 years or so. COVID, a mass pandemic with lots of bereavement, lots of deaths, lots of fear, lots of anxiety, a sense of worry. Would we be okay? Would our loved ones be okay? And then of course there was things that weren't available because of, people rushing to get what they needed, huge lockdowns all over the world, people that would maybe have their friends and family close by, that if they had a burden they could share it, didn't necessarily have that. It's not the same over Zoom. If you've got an issue, you need a hug. People need hugs. So then after that, we're starting to get ourselves up a wee bit, but I can feel it, and I've felt it. There's a communal wound out there that hasn't healed yet, and possibly won't, because so many people were bereaved, and so many people were scared. And then we come into a war in Ukraine, wars and ethnic cleansing all over the world, money problems, maybe going into a deep depression, worrying about the cost of living, people that maybe didn't have much not being able to heat their homes over the last winter or 2 winters, worrying about children, worrying about how you would feed them, worrying about how this would affect your parents and your grandparents. Do you see what I'm guessing at? Like, the weight has been constant. We have had to take our amount of stress and worry, and it didn't stop. We could hold on to it for a month or two and be okay. We could maybe fold it for 3-4 months and be okay. We could maybe take a deep breath, slow down, do everything we can to focus on not going under while we hold this thing that's become a massive weight in our hands. But when it goes on and on and on, we either have to drop it, or we have to let someone take it from us, at least for a little while. And that's the situation I think a lot of us are in just now. We're done in. We have had all our psychic senses strained, tortured, saddened, isolated. We've felt people's fear, we've felt people's anguish, we've watched warscapes, we've watched famines, and it's just getting too heavy. And I know there's lots of you at the moment are saying, yes, I understand. Now, there are a lot of people on this channel. I range from about 30 and up. Now, a lot of younger people too, which I'm grateful for. There's a lot of different ages. Those of us in our 50s and 60s have seen quite a lot, to be honest, and those of us in our 60s have been through the 80s with, with all the nuclear threats, etc. We thought we'd never see that again. So we've been through a lot, but I think if we look at the last 5 years, so much has been compressed into it. so much trauma, so much anguish, so much fear, that I'm glad that I'm older and can have some sort of perspective on it. Because if you're, up to about age 40 and your psychic gifts are coming forward and you'll feel so anxious because you're feeling everything more than maybe your friends, you're feeling so many things that just feel like too much. And I think that's why there's a blanket of anxiety in the age group of about 18 to 34, 35. There's this too much, just too much, too much, too much. I've never seen figures like the amount of people that are just maybe 20 up to 30, 35 and 40 that have anxiety, that have OCD, that have Tourette's, that have adult tic disorder. These things are manifestations of, to me, the brain saying too much, too much, too much. No, 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 no. And of course there's mental health issues for them, etc. That's there, but the environment is toxic to psychic and empathic people. The way that we're living in the earth at the moment is toxic. And those of us that are older can say, well, we understand, but I hope there's a lot of younger ones that can see this video, or that maybe the mums and the nanas and the grands can pass it on to them, because you know what? I'm talking to the ones up to about 35 here. You are amazing. You're an amazing generation. You are phenomenal in your empathy and your eagerness to be open to the world and to your own psyche. Your openness to us all being part of one and oneness. I honour and am blown away by you all. And I hope you know that. But I'm telling you now, aren't I? But I do. I think that the generation, that's here fighting for the earth at the moment is pretty amazing. So anyway, I can ramble on. If you're feeling low, if you're feeling down, if you're feeling stressed, if you're feeling you can't function, that you can't get out of bed, yes, understand you may need mental health help, doctor, psychologist, whatever. But please do understand that anyone who is open and sensitive can only absorb so much. And if they absorb it and they do okay, but then they're forced to absorb it again and again and again, it becomes like that glass of water. It becomes that it's too heavy to keep up. So what can we do? Oh, maybe that's a whole nother video, but let's just off the top of my head, learn to smudge. Learn to smudge. There's a video on the channel, how to smudge, or I'll link it down below. Okay, I'll find it and link it down below. Learn how to cleanse your aura and smudge. Okay? Meditate. Give your brain space. Go off social media. Give yourself a break. Or at least cut your time down on it. Particularly the ones that are auto scroll, because they just feed you back what you look at. And I was intensely looking at, I'm quite political, I was looking at things of war and also gun laws in USA. And of course you get fed more and more, and it gets worse and worse and worse. And the things I've seen over the last couple of days from USA and guns, for those of you living there, please take this video on board, because the sadness and the aura of despair that is settling over USA, especially the states that are having so many mass shootings, is horrific. My heart goes out to you. But that's all I'm going to say on that. But if you understand, sometimes the algorithm will feed us what we look at, and I've had to stop over the last day or so, because I just can't. And I would suggest that you just do the same. Keep watching YouTube, the good videos, the people that you follow. And maybe this is the time to say, give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you like this type of rambling video. That's my books, Dying to Live and Memoirs of Clairvoyant. That's always a good way to support the channel if you would like to. So basically, cut down on social media if you can. Turn off the news. Be aware, but don't be too engrossed. It's like when someone has a problem, you can say, I need to get this right. I can feel this with you, but I can't live it for you. There's a lot going on that we have to say. I can feel it with you a bit, but I can't take it on board. I can't live it. And that's what I would ask you to do. If you like crystals, you could use protective crystals. You could use very upbeat and angelic crystals, selenite, or you could actually use grounding crystals to put the energy down into the earth with, such as obsidian, smoky quartz, you know. There's so many things that you can do to lessen it, and because I know them, I can do it. And sometimes it's not that successful when you get maybe health issues or things going on as well, but it needs to be done. Ritualize your day. Make prayer part of your day to your higher self, or to a deity, or to the universe. Talk to Great Spirit. That in itself can be very cleansing and beautiful. It's a way to get things out. So even if you're not speaking it, but you're saying it in your head, that is good. Look after yourself physically and mentally and emotionally. Put boundaries up. Put barriers up. Get out in nature. Because nature's beautiful. Nature is calming. And it can show us how we're just all part of it. And sometimes we need that reminder, believe me. So anyway, I'm going off the point a wee bit, but the whole point is that you can carry a weight quite well for a certain amount of time. But the longer you have to carry that weight without getting breaks from it, or without putting it down, or without someone holding it up with you, then the more we become done in. Basically done in. It's as simple as that. And there's a lot of you feeling that way. I see it. I see it so much. And I want with this channel for you to comment and support one another, to let me know what you do to get away from continual feelings of horrible things going on in the earth. I want your suggestions. This is a conversation with Colette. We can all benefit from hearing from one another, even if it's just to say, oh my goodness, yes, I have been feeling that too. White Storm has stuff to say, but not on this video. I'll do another one probably this month or as soon as. Don't know what he's got to say, but it's not for this video. So would you bear in mind what I said about carrying the weight of the world for too long without putting it down, without having a rest or a break, or without letting someone help you carry it, whether that be your friend, your family, a professional, your deity, the universe, your higher self. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'm so looking forward to reading them and taking part in them. Please, please give yourself a break. You've not watched this to the end without having an amazingly psychic, empathic, sensitive nature. So now you have to admit that and go on with protecting it in as many ways as you can. It's just not one way. Throw the physical stuff on, throw the mental health stuff on, use the spiritual. And that way we'll all be ready to fight another day. Many blessings now, and blessed to have you. You've been such a support through my illness and the loss of my 2 wee dogs, and I couldn't be without you, so I'm sending blessings to every one of you from my heart. Just know how special you are to me, and I don't say that lightly. Many blessings now. Bye.